Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, a.k.a. PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions in the worlds of pop culture, social media, sports, everything really. My guest is an actor. You will recognize him as Trent on ABC's Fresh Off the Boat, but he's also been in True Detective Season 2, and he's also been in Fuller House. Trevor Larcom is with us. Trevor, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I want to know, what was the first TV show or movie that you saw that had you going, man, I want to do this. I want to be an actor. Was there one show or movie that kind of made you want to pursue that career?
Probably Modern Family.
Which you got to be in.
Yeah, I got to be in Modern Family. Modern Family was the first show that I really liked to watch. And I had all the seasons on DVD, so it was really cool.
Absolutely. I mentioned Fresh Off the Boat, Trent. This is one of Eddie's friends at school. It's a pretty significant role. Kind of transitioned from kind of like the bully, but then very quickly just became one of his best friends. Talk about the experiences with that role and how the character like evolved over the coming seasons.
Yeah, it's evolved from being a bully, and like in the first season I was like, you know, the shoes and everything, and then I evolved into one of his better friends, and yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned Modern Family, but is there anything specifically you like about kind of being the storyteller, this guy on screen telling these stories and kind of bringing these characters to life? What do you like about it, Trevor?
It's just fun to, you know, be somebody else working on with other people. You know, it's always fun on Fresh Off the Boat because there's all kids that are my age, and we're just friends now, you know? Mm-hmm. So every time I work on that show, it'll just be like, you know, seeing my friends.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I mentioned Fuller House, True Detective. You've been on kind of different genres of shows. What's your favorite kind of genre to do? I mean, you've done the comedy, you've done kind of the drama of True Detectives, playing Colin Farrell's son, but talk about what you like or prefer.
I think comedy is definitely like the best. Comedy, yeah, definitely comedy. Drama is all right, but yeah, comedy is definitely my favorite genre.
And what do you like about it?
I don't know. It's just lighthearted and it's fun to do. Comedy's just fun, you know. It'll make you laugh.
Oh, absolutely. You're an interesting story where you're young and you've done so many high profile shows so far, but has there been anything goal oriented that you've kind of set yourself when 2018 came around, like anything you wanted to try, anything new you wanted to try role wise, or is it just kind of the same, just hoping things like Fresh Off the Boat keep progressing, like anything specific?
Well, yeah, I'm always going out for auditions and trying to get new roles, but yeah, it's pretty much Fresh Off the Boat, and I'll go out for auditions on other shows. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Fresh Off the Boat, when you kind of got that job, what did you know when you first got it? You knew it was kind of a kid at school, but did you know it was going to be the recurring role it became?
I knew it was going to be a recurring role, and the funny thing about that show, the writer Nachka Khan, mm-hmm. she wrote a pilot that I was in, Patrick. Mm-hmm. I was the lead in that, and so I'm pretty sure she like wanted me to do that role. I think she kind of wrote me in for that role.
Very cool, very cool. And you audition like, I mean, I see a lot of these podcasts, a lot of these interviews, people say like, how did you get the role? And you're like, well, I auditioned for it. But specifically like Fuller House, right? Because your character in that is a lot more quirky than Trent on Fresh Off the Boat. And Mankowski, we've only seen him for about 3 or 4 episodes, but he's there and he's providing moral support, but it's kind of like a goofy take on like a best friend. Was that kind of hard to play and to kind of prepare for?
Yeah, it was definitely a different scene for me because that show is filmed live action as well. So that's something I've never done. It's like a pretty much like theater almost.
Mhm.
So that's something I've never done. And yeah, Mankowski is very it's a very different role from like anything I've ever done like Trent, cuz I don't know, it's just a different scene on Fuller House than it is on like Fresh Off the Boat or anything else I've ever done.
Absolutely, and you were season 2 of True Detective, and that wasn't funny. That was serious. That was you were
Yeah.
Colin Farrell's son. You were getting bullied. It was just drama all over the place. Any cool kind of story? Because that cast was fantastic, and it was an amazing crew. Any cool stories from that kind of couple of months of being on set, or being Colin Farrell's fictional son? I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Colin Farrell, he's a really really nice guy, very humble. And I remember when we were doing a scene, he had to like cuss at me, and he had to do all these things. And I remember after every take he would say like sorry or like something like that.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
No, that's
very nice.
no, that's really really cool. Outside of acting, I mean, you're a kid. You're living the normal life, or trying to live the life of going to school, hanging out with friends. It's kind of hard maybe when you're on call or trying to shoot a show. But what do
Yeah.
you kind of do in your what do you kind of enjoy doing in your spare time? Any sports, any other hobbies besides acting?
Yeah, I like to golf.
Oh,
Golf is I've been golfing for 2 years now, and yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing when I'm not acting. Golfing. That's pretty much been my life, golfing and acting.
I'm wondering if you go in for an audition or you go in for like a second read and like the casting directors are like talking to you and then like ask about your interests, and I'm wondering if they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're a golfer. Maybe we'll incorporate golf into your role on the show." Like, I'm wondering if that ever happens.
Yeah, there's definitely been some times where like there's something that like I can do which has helped me get a role. But fresh off the boat, that's another funny thing. There was a golf episode, like where they were talking about golf and like the main three boys were trying to like become golfers.
Yeah.
And I remember that episode. That's one of my favorite episodes because it's about golf and I love golf. So
So, probably one of my favorite moments on Fresh Off the Boat involves your character, where it's an amazing show that kind of pays homage to the 90s and puts in all these little 90s little nuggets in there. And you know what I'm going to mention? The jacket, right?
yeah,
The Cleveland Browns jacket, right? And you and there were rumblings, about Cleveland's team and everything, and you throw it in in the trash and on fire, and say that they're they're moving away from Cleveland. Did you know about that when that happened, or was that kind of just like go with it? And were you aware of that situation? Did you get the joke at all? Like, I'm just curious from your perspective.
so when I was on set and filming that, like they were like some people told me about like the history behind that and how they moved from Cleveland to I think Baltimore during like that time. And that's why I was mad and I burned the jacket. So yeah, I didn't know before, but when I got on set they told me like how the history behind that was.
Absolutely. You mentioned golf as well. So are you into like the whole culture of golf in general? Like, are there some are like if there's like a golf movie on like TV or a golf movie that came out, are those kind of your favorite movies, or is it just about playing golf?
I just pretty much like to play golf. I don't really watch anything golf related. I'll turn on like golf on the TV sometimes, but yeah, I golf. I just try to golf a lot. And I just like it for the playing it. I don't watching it's all right, but I like playing it more than watching.
No, absolutely. I actually like this is something I should ask you in the kind of like the beginning of the episode, but how did you get into acting? Like, what was your first role? Like, where are you originally from? Like, how did you kind of land that? Like, how did all the like pieces come together for you?
So So my mom, she had a friend of a friend that was an agent,
Hmm.
and so I was born, and like she said that my hair, the red hair, would be good for acting. And my mom, she didn't really want me to do acting. Like she wasn't really like, trying to push me to do acting or anything. But eventually, we finally said yeah, and so I started going on auditions, and I got a Wiener Schnitzel commercial audition or commercial. I got booked that job, and then I did a Target commercial. I did some commercials, and then I did my first show. I think was House MB or whatever.
Hmm.
House, yeah. And then ever since then, I've just been going out and doing jobs.
Hmm. You're in an interesting situation too, because not only are you younger, but you have had a recurring role in a show. You know, a lot of people out there, you see them. I've had a lot of guests on my show that say, you know, they have a couple episodes here, a couple episodes there. You have over 40 episodes on Fresh Off the Boat. That's something that you definitely can't take for granted, but that's something that also kind of shows that you're doing something right, Trevor?
Mhm. Yeah, it's. I think it's been a lot of episodes fresh off the boat, going into the fifth season now, and it's been probably 4 years now. And they told me, like last season when we were working on it, they were saying like how small I was when I first started that show, and now how much taller I am now. So it's
Uh,
pretty cool to just see the show progress like that.
no, absolutely. What do you kind of want to happen to Trent? Like, what are some storylines that you hope maybe the writers and producers will kind of do for your character in terms of, you know, his relationship with Eddie? And we understand that, you know, Trent has had some, he's had some, he's been trying to kind of get out there and get a girlfriend and everything, but like, like what do you expect to happen to Trent on Fresh Off the Boat?
Uh, I think the girlfriend part might be something in season 5.
Hmm.
If I had to guess, that that would be one of the main things. Cause none of us, I think there was one episode with the roller rink where we
Yeah.
all had girlfriends for that day.
Hmm.
But other than that, I think it's just been Eddie. So maybe they'll give me and Walter and all of them girlfriends. That would be cool. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's one of those things, and um, for like Mankowski, because you know Fuller House is going into, I think it's like fourth season. I mean, it's been out
Mhm.
for a while on Netflix. If Mankowski comes back, I mean, same old, just goofy Mankowski who's obsessed with DJ, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. It's a really fun role, because they've been around in that, working on that show for so long since the '90s, and see it come back and me be a part of it. It's really amazing
Hmm.
to be able to be part of it.
Couple more questions before we wrap up. I'm just really curious because it's funny because you're in an interesting situation. It's similar to like I do a lot of sports interviews on this show. So when I talk to like hockey players, like junior hockey players, I find it interesting because the junior hockey players, they play in certain rinks that have a big fan base, so they're kind of looked up to, and they have fans. But at the same time, they're junior hockey players. Their career is starting, and they're looking up to NHLers and pro athletes. So you're
Yeah.
a younger actor who can be seen as a role model for people that want to kind of get in that role, but at the same time you have people that you are looking up to that you're working on with other shows. So what do you kind of think about that dynamic, because you're in a kind of an interesting situation?
Yeah, I definitely am in an interesting situation because kind of in the middle, I have people to look up to. And yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to look up to people and to know that maybe some people look up to me. But yeah,
Absolutely. Well, Trevor, I think we'll wrap up, but thank you for taking the time to chat with us. I know it's been pretty crazy, with Fresh Off the Boat, and like I said, season 5, Fresh Off the Boat. It's crazy how successful that show's been on ABC.
I know. I time goes by. I mean, I remember when we were excited about season 2, and now we're on season 5. So
Absolutely, it's
maybe,
just It's crazy, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Where could people follow you on social media? Plug away.
Trevor Larcom on Twitter and Trevor Larcom on Instagram.
Perfect. That's
so,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on Popternative, and we wish you all the best. We hope to see Trent soon, back and fresh off the boat.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popturn for the video episodes, iTunes, Spotify for the audio episodes. Until next time, this is Trevor Larcom and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.